Every day I wake up and I make my bed and I brush my teeth and I get dressed for the day, and every day is a new day for me. I never really know what to expect, especially at work. Being a nurse, I work with patients. Some are unruly and ungrateful. Some are placed in my life on that day to be exactly what I needed on that day, and am reminded that every single day of my life is planned and for a purpose. I am living out the promise of God with every cup of coffee that I drink, every smile that I encounter in the hallway, and every patient that I touch. I am doing the work of the Lord. I am living for something greater than myself. And my responsibility in this lifetime is to love and to live for the Lord and to share the love of the Lord. And the realm beyond me is just waiting for even more of that. It all started with a Bible study group that I was invited to. He was part of the group already, and I was invited in as a mutual friend, and he caught my attention right away. He was the life of the party. Everyone lit up when he walked in the room, and he was the most inclusive one of the bunch. He made sure to walk over and introduce himself, and right away I knew I liked his character. I picked up on it very quickly that he was pursuing me. We went on our first date, and the rest was history. I knew I would marry him by my third date. So we waited a good while until our careers were established and the timing was perfect. I was in nursing school, so he waited until I graduated school, and he was my rock the whole way through nursing school. He worked really hard for his age and was really successful, but he always made sure to make time for me, whether it was dropping off Kit Kats and Blueberry Red Bull for every test or big exam. Chris proposed right after I graduated nursing school. He whisked me away for a getaway after studying for my NCLEX, and it was supposed to be just a weekend to clear my head, and he had talked me into it. We left, and he proposed on Chestnut Bridge in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Once we were finally married and settled into life as a married couple, all was well. It was fun to sit for a while. When we first bought the house, we didn't have any furniture, and there's a sketchy Asian place down the road, and it's just kind of like a convenience store that has a Chinese family in the back that cooks food, and it's really good Chinese food. And the previous homeowners told us about it, and that became our tradition. Every single Sunday we would go get the sketchy Chinese food and sit in the floor and watch our laptop for the first probably 4 months of marriage, and that was the most treasured time for me because we didn't need anything other than that. I had him and my sketchy Chinese and our show that we were watching at the time, and it was the happiest that I was in that moment. He was on his way home from work. He had left to go help a friend, and on his way home, he was in a fatal car accident. That was the worst night of my life, losing my husband, and I remember being so angry with God. I don't know why he ruined all of that for me, why he took this incredible man, Chris Baker, from my life. If anything, why Chris Baker? I struggled with anger for such a long time. I didn't know why Chris, why not someone else that, wasn't as fun or wasn't as good or wasn't as Christian. And it was just a fall to your knee moment when you realize that Chris was exactly who God wanted in that moment. He wanted Chris, and he took Chris, and it was selfish of me to have wanted him for myself. And so once I realized that God had a plan and he knew all along he was going to take Chris home, it was just the journey of navigating where to go from there, and the journey of forgiveness with the Lord, and knowing that there was a purpose behind his actions and there's a promise to come next. So then I got over the anger because I did find a place in my heart for forgiveness, and me and the Lord are good now. I blessed him out, and we had a time with it, but we're good now. And then he walked me through this season of newfound promises. And so he used to show me a garden. I have a plant beside me. His name is Freddie, and he's my fiddle fig. And from time to time, as he grows, you have to repot him. And so I had him as a little baby, and I've repotted him probably 3 times. And every time you have to take him out of the soil, and you have to just so carefully dust off all the dirt around the roots so that you're careful not to ruin the roots or anything. And it's tedious because it takes a lot of time, and you have to be so gentle and so careful. But then you put them in this new pot so that they can grow and get bigger. And that transition is exactly how I felt, and that's exactly what he was doing with me. I'm not being mean by taking him from one pot and putting him in another. That was his home then, and this is his home now. And so just that uprooting and the growing pains that come with that is what the Lord really taught me in that season. And it's not fun, and it's tedious, and it hurts, and it's unfamiliar because you're in this bigger space. And the presence of the Lord is what you just have to rely on, just knowing that He is planting you for a purpose, and that you are going to grow, and you are going to bear fruit after this season is over. And it's just relying on that, knowing that there's an ultimate purpose. There's a place we're going beyond where we're at and what we're in right now. Specifically, that place is heaven. And that's exactly where I want to go, and that's where I want to be. So if I have to get placed in pot after pot after pot to keep growing and get there, that's exactly what I'm going to do, and I'm going to rely on the Lord to do it. When, Chris died and he went to heaven, my perception changed significantly, because that meant I wanted to get to heaven even more. I was going to do whatever I could to be better and do better and act better and be careful with my words and forgive even quicker than I did before. Whatever I needed to do to get to heaven, that meant that I got to get to Chris, because if I mess up in this life, I don't ever get to see him again. So I was motivated more than anything by that. But I had this conversation with my sister. I sat down and I told her about this topic, and I was wondering if I'm the only one that thinks this way. And she said, no. After our conversation, the Lord revealed that that's not at all what I need to look to. I don't need to strive to get to heaven so that I can see Chris, because that is idolizing Chris and what he was and is. I need to strive to get to heaven, to get to God, and to get to the throne. And so just that revelation throughout the process of praying for this and learning what I have throughout this whole season, I have learned more than anything to change my perception from looking for a reward versus looking for the true presence of the Lord in heaven. I end the day just thanking the Lord for anything that I received that day, and I thank Him for the promises that are to come. And I can have joy in my heart knowing that there is a reason and there's a purpose and there's a garden just flourishing, and I'm part of that. And that's just something to smile about and to be excited about, and I love that.